Hey folks, JD here, and today we are looking at this beauty. This is the JXD 510. So this is the updated 509. Same camera, same pretty much overall positioning, same LED covers, but very much a different shape and different style body and propeller arms as well. So I'm hoping this is going to fly as well as the 509, if not hopefully a little bit better. So I've gone through the pre-flight checks already just to make sure that everything's okay. So because when I unboxed this, as we saw in the unboxing video, everything was attached. So I've just gone through, made sure that the propellers are okay and that the landing sprigs are okay, as well as the camera body and the PCB holder are all nice and tight. So the first thing to do is open the back of the door and let's plug in the battery. This is quite fiddly, so what you're going to want to do is keep your fingers away from getting cut, because that is something that happens quite easily. A little bit fiddly. There we go, in we go, perfect. So before I plugged her in, I just made sure that the switch was off, which it was there. Now we can turn her on. There we go. So same colour formations as the 509. So you've got the two blue for the front and the two white for the back. So let's turn on the transmitter. Let's open up the FPV screen. There we go. So we've, even before we bound the quadcopter to the transmitter, the screen was already showing exactly what the camera is seeing. So there we go. Perfect. Right, so a couple of little things before you take off. Obviously today we've got a wind coming in at about 4.5 miles an hour, so not terrible. So what we're going to do is we're just going to try and keep her low for the minute, let altitude hold, take care of her, and see how much she blows around, see how much we've got to compensate, and then from there we'll take her around and see what we can see. So let's hold the video button. Now you'll see in the bottom of the screen here the numbers turn red and start counting up. That lets you know that the video is now recording. So now to calibrate the quadcopter to ensure that it's nice and stable, bring the left and the right analog sticks in on each other like that. Hold that for a couple of seconds, and now we should be good to click the start stop. Already this seems quieter than the 509. I remember that being quite loud. So let's take her up. Don't forget altitude hold will hold her up there to a certain height. So there we go. Let's bring her down a little bit. Let's bring her over to me. And there she is. I mean, even with these minor adjustments on the body, she is a fantastic looking quadcopter anyway, I think. The 509 was. So the 510, oh sorry, the 510 just makes better on that look. Just by making it look a little bit meaner. So let's take her up a little bit. Oh, she feels heavy. Why do you feel heavy? You've got nothing to be heavy about, fella. Okay, let's increase the speed a little bit. Oh, she did not drop in altitude there. Maybe I'm too low. Let's take her up a little bit. Let's fly her around. Let's see what we've got. So here we are. Here's the FPV screen. There's me. As we take her around, be sure to be keeping an eye on the quadcopter at all times, not just to be using the FPV screen. She is just as fun as the 509. Let's increase the speed again. This was 3 beeps as you just heard. This would be the advanced mode. And she is a little bit quicker. That does make her a little bit faster. What I have noticed though with this, and I didn't notice with the 509, is that as you're flying her around, see the dips? She's just dipping in and out. which is a little bit of a shame because the 509 was the first copter I ever flew with altitude hold. See, she's just, if I take her up a little bit, she seems fine when she's up, she seems fine when she's going. But, as we've seen, she does like to just, every now and again, just go down a little bit. I'm sure that's just down to atmospheric pressure and not the quadcopter itself. I mean, because obviously with the built-in barometer, what you're going to find is you are going to find that atmospherics are going to play a part in how high she stays and how stable she stays at that height. Let's turn it around to me. There I am. Come on in, bring you home. That's what I find FPV is really, really handy for. It's not necessarily for watching as she's flying, because I find that a little bit disorienting, and obviously you mustn't take your eyes off the quadcopter at any time anyway, because you know they can cause damage, especially if they are to crash. But I do find it really quite interesting just to keep your orientation, so you know exactly where you're going. Well, there's a little bit of camera interference there. I'm sure that's just down to today, because as you can see in the distance, there is some rain. So, extremely stable flight. Okay, back in basic mode, basic speed, beginner, and let's bring her down. So, when you land her, very important, because I'm landing in grass, which is not advised, just pull the analog sticks to the opposite side of each other. That then will cut off the engines, the motors, and ensure that you don't go spinning up any grass. So, yeah, mixed feelings if I'm honest. She is a 509 with a different body. But, in saying that, I am quite enjoying the fact that they've actually brought out another, you know, a newer 509 basically. Because that one was just so much fun. You just couldn't fault how much fun that quadcopter was. This one seems a little bit heavier. She seems a bit slower on the ascent. As you saw was the drop in pressure, so therefore the quadcopter will drop, because the barometer does sense the atmospheric pressure just to keep her up there. All in all though, I am pretty, you know, I'm pretty glad that they brought one out. No, I think that's the battery, folks. That doesn't seem to be too happy. I'm not recording anything for the second as I pushed the video button when I landed her the first time just to stop the recording. So let's rebind her. No signal. Ha! Right, cool. Right, okay. Let's turn her on. Let's turn her on. Ah, there we go. So it might not be the battery, so I'm going to try without recording any video. Oh, I would say that's the battery. That's just gone. Yeah, she hasn't got the power to take off. That's it. Done. Well. So, impressions. Well, if you love the 509, and if you're after a newer 509, this is for you. If you haven't bought a 509, and think that the 510 is going to be a better buy, because I think there's about a £5 price difference, then I would say, yeah, go for it. If you want this really mean look. If you just want a standard quadcopter look like the 509, then don't bother with the 510, go for the 509. I mean, there isn't any real, that I can see, or that I could feel flying, any difference between the two. The LED lights, the LED light controllers are exactly the same. The camera and the printed circuit board are exactly the same. There are cosmetic changes, but all in all, she is an updated 509, but mostly cosmetically. So yeah, altitude hold works quite well. I did feel as if there was a little bit of an issue with it keeping altitude and turning. She seemed to drop quite heavily. But then I can also say that of other altitude hold quadcopters as well, in weather, you know, which isn't ideal like today. Overall, I would say she's a strong quadcopter, but I wouldn't be racing out to buy her if I hadn't already flown the 509 and thought, oh wow, upgraded, let's go out and get her. So there you have it. The battery is exactly the same as well. It could have been better if they made this little back bit a bit bigger, which still would have given enough clearance more than enough clearance for the propellers and just put in a larger battery. That would have been perfect. Then it would have been, I would have given it rave reviews. But just because of that, and because of the fact that it's just a 509 with a different body, then I would say, then yeah, if you're after the next model up from the 509, get this. Overall, very good. Really liked it. Enjoyed the flight. It was a definite 8 minutes up in the air. Lucky I landed it when I did, because otherwise I think she would have come down with a bit of a bang. So we'll wait to see what the camera looks like. When I review the footage. If the footage is different to the 509, then I'll put a little message in the video just to let everyone know. But just on face value and looking at the tech specs, it looks to be exactly the same camera. So there we have it. Alright then folks, so thanks ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD. You've been fantastic as always. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, my friends, happy flying.